what pirate doesn't have a hook? Kristen here with Enchanted Yarnworks. Welcome back. Today we are continuing our pirate theme. So we're going to be making this lovely, lovely pirate hook to go with our whole getup. So hang out with me today. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure that notification bell is dinged, and show me some love with the likes. Definitely appreciate those. Without further ado, let's get started on finishing our pirate theme. What we need today to make our pirate hook is I'm using Red Heart Super Saver Metallic in the color light gray. This is for the hook portion, so it kind of gives it a metal look. Then I'm also using Red Heart Super Saver in black. Pick this little gem up in a set of 12 different colors. They're like little sampler sizes, so you don't have to buy a whole bunch of regular size ones. And I think that'll work perfect. We also need 4 20 gauge, they're about 16 inches long, Floral Wire Sticks. Now, if you get the 20 gauge, which is thicker, you may need only 2. But this is what I have on hand, so that's what I'm using. We're using a 4.5 millimeter hook. We are going to need our yarn needles. This is our yarn tin that I use all the time, and a pair of scissors, whatever kind you like. So, oh, and also poly-fil stuffing. So I just have some leftovers in a plastic bag here for that. Or any kind of stuffing you want to use. I guess we don't have to use a name brand. I don't know if that's just what we always call it. It's poly-fil. So that's why I said it. All right, so everything I have here, minus the stuffing, I am going to link down below for you and from Amazon. Now, reminder as a disclaimer, I am an associate, so anything that is purchased that's a qualifying purchase, I may receive a commission for. These little gems are so adorable. They come in, this kit had 12 different colors, and they're kind of primary colors. Some reds and pinks and yellows and greens and grays and browns and whites and blues. 12 in that. There's also a bigger set, but I only got the smaller one. So I will link all of that. You can decide if that's something you want to look into regardless. So we're going to start out what we need to do. Everything we're doing is one continuous round, starting with a slip knot, and we're starting at the top of the tip of the, let me move some things out of the way a little bit, kind of in the way. The tip of the, hook. And so we're starting small, and then we're going to be working up. So what I'm also doing is yarning under to kind of keep the stitches more sturdy and smaller, and it kind of keeps it from drifting too much, if that makes sense. So what we're going to do is we start with our slip knot, and then we are chaining 2, and we're going to chain 3 in the second chain from the hook. Let me zoom in a little bit and adjust my camera. That should be good. All right, so we're yarning under, which this is a yarn over in case you are uncertain. And then yarning over is just going in and pulling your hook over like so. Okay, so we need 3 of these. So 1. So the first half is a yarn under, the second half is a yarn over, in case you were seeing that for the first time and you were confused as to why I said yarn under and then I yarned over. Okay, so then we were working straight into the next row. And you know what? I should probably get some stitch markers. One moment. We are going to use one of these fun little guys today. Yes, I will absolutely link them. I'm going to go with a smaller one just because this is a tighter project. And I don't want something big and cumbersome to be in the way. How about this little guy? Okay, so here we are. He's kind of cute. Alrighty, so next up we are going to be working straight into the next loop because we're doing a continuous round, and we're increasing to 5 stitches, both loops. So first we're doing 2 in the first stitch, and then 1 in the next, and then 2 in the last. All right, so I'm going to move this guy over. So the increasing portion is the most time consuming as far as thought goes. And then we have a lot of rows of just 11 stitches, which is going to make it easy. You just have to make sure you're counting your rows. That's all. Okay. So now we need to do 2 rows of 5 single crochets. So I'm just going to count to 10. Actually, I already have it marked. So 1, and 5. I'm just going to count 5 more. I'm going to leave that out for now. Okay. 1, 2, 3, I'm going to use that tail for stuffing. 4, in just a few minutes. And there's 5. Okay. I know it looks a little weird right now. It'll work itself out. Okay, next row we are increasing to 7. So we are going to, I'm going to put my stitch marker on here for sure. Okay. So our first stitch is a single crochet. And then we are increasing with 2 in the next. And then another single. And then increasing. And our last is a single. That should give us 7. Okay. Now we have one more row of 7 single crochets, and then we will be increasing again. I'm just going to count to 7. Not worry about that stitch marker right now. 1, 6, and here is 7. Now I'm going to kind of push this tail in a little bit because now it's starting to be a nuisance. I have a pen right here. And it's also going to help kind of stuff down here at the point and help with that shaping. Okay, there we go. All right, next we are increasing to 8. So we are single crocheting 3 times around. 1, 2, 3, increasing in the next. This will be 4 and 5. And then the next 3 are singles. So it'll be 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so now we have 2 rows of 8 to do, and I'm just going to go around and count to 16. If you prefer to use stitch markers, go right ahead and put those in and do it that way. Not a problem, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to count to 16. So 1, 'kay, that's 15, and here is 16. All right. Next, we're going to increase to 9. Just feeling that's just a little bit close. Okay, so we are single crocheting 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now increasing 5 and 6 together. And then the last 3 are singles. So 7, 8, and 9. And then we're doing a row of just 9. 1, 9. Okay, so now we're going to increase to 10. We're single crocheting 4 and then an increase. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're increasing 5 and 6. 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9, and 10, the last 4. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. Now we have 2 rows of 10 to do. I'm just going to count to 20 for this. 1, 'Alrighty, there that is. There's 10. 2 rows of 10. Alrighty. And then next row we are increasing to 11, and then we're going to start stuffing and going through the rest of it. Okay, so increasing, we need 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then an increase, 6 and 7, and then the last is 4 single crochets. 8, 9, was 9, 10, and 11. Okie dokie. So how we are going to do this is, so that kind of gets us our little point there. I'm going to take some, actually, I'm going to take my 4 wires. So this is what they, I don't know if you can see, here's what they look like. They're about 16 inches long and they work perfectly for the length we need. We will cut some off. And I like to kind of bend the bottom together like this a little bit so that they're not pointy and they're not going to try to poke out of the point of our project. And then I just kind of twist them all the way down so they stay together. And they don't get wild like this. They stay together like this, which is incredibly helpful when it comes to crocheting around them, because that's what we're going to be doing for the rest of the project. We are going to be crocheting around the wires because we have to stuff as we go, and trying to stuff wire in after you've stuffed a project is darn near impossible. So don't do that to yourself. Trust me, this is the way to do it. Okay, almost twisted all the way. Okay, I'm not going to curve the end of this just yet because we are not going to need the full length unless you want it longer because your hands are bigger than mine, which they probably are. I have smaller hands and I kind of unintentionally made this to fit my hand. So I would advise possibly to make the handle part a little bit longer if you have larger hands. Okay, so I'm going to take a tiny little bit and I'm going to stuff this down into the point. Before I get too carried away, put this in here like so. And it's going to be like this the whole time, which will be just fine. So yeah, you're going to want this firm, but not wonky. All right. There we are. Okay, so now what we're doing is we are going to work the next 25 rows of just 11 single crochets around. That's what we're doing next. Stuffing as you go so that, you know, it fills up, because we're going to keep, it's going to be long. So you want to stuff as you go, and you can keep it straight and then we will bend it at the end. Not a problem. So that's what I'm going to do. We have 25 rows of 11. And I will start this to kind of show you how it works out. So you just like normal, you're just going to kind of work around the stick there. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so here's 10, and here is 11. Okay, so as you see, just like that, all the way around. Yes, it is whacking everything on my table, which is okay. But this is going to kind of point this way, and this will kind of grow. It'll be beautiful. So you're going to stuff as you go. That was 20. That was one of our 25. So I have 24 to go. So what I'm going to do is I will pause this here, and then I will see you again when I get to the end of the 25. Okay, to give you an idea, I have done 14 rows, and I tend to stuff every 4 or so rows just to make it easier, and I do just a little bit at a time. You know, like these little pieces so that it doesn't get funky mashed up in there and super bulky and then look weird. And it doesn't matter if the wire is centered completely or if it ends up closer to the edge, it's all going to work out. So I tend to like stuff it to the edge sometimes. Personal preference, whatever you want to do, whatever works for you. Okay, so I'm going to continue and I will see you back. Okay, so I have one more stitch in my last row of the 25, and then we're going to change colors here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go into these front loops, put this one back here, grab my black, and then finish this stitch with the black. Okay, so the next, pull that out. What we have to do is loosely slip stitch, because we're going to make a clean edge for this. So we're going to loosely slip stitch in the back loops only all the way around. So it's going to be looser than what we've been doing. Okay. So 1, 10, and here's 11. So then next we are back loop single crocheting all the way around with our regular tension. 1, 2, 3, 4, now the reason this is 5 that you do loosely here is because this will get really tight because it's a slip stitch. So you definitely want to make sure you're loose with that, with your slip stitch row. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and this is 11. There we go. The last stitch got a little bit tight, I guess. Okay. So you see, that gives us a nice clean edge. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to trim the previous here so it's out of the way, and I'm going to stuff in here. I'm going to stuff my other ends and then also use the stuffing to do that. Sometimes I need a tool to kind of help get it properly in there. Okay, so what do you think? This is a nice clean edge that we did there. Looks very lovely. So now we're going to do another round of single crochet 11 back loop only. And that back loop only is going to be there for the purpose of us adding the hand guard that goes over the handle part at the end. So I'm going to do that and be right back. Okay, so there's that one. And next we have 12 rows of single crochet 11 in both loops before we start to decrease. Now, if you don't want to use black, I understand entirely. You could choose any other color to make this. You can make it brown. You could make it, whatever you want to do. I just chose black because I guess you could say it's kind of stereotypical. So that's what I'm going to do. So there's my first. I have 11 more to go. I'm going to do a little stuffing in here, and then I will continue that out, those last 11 rows, and then we will start to decrease and finish off the end. Okie dokie. So, yep, I got some fuzz stuck in here. So here is where we are with the handle. Now, as you see, that fits my hand, but my hand is a little small. So definitely, like I said earlier, you can make this longer if you have a larger hand, and I highly advise you do so. But I am going to stop here and start decreasing. This was 12 rows, but you could definitely add however many you need. So our decreasing rows are only 3, so it's not going to make much of a difference as far as, I think it's going to be about to here. So however much longer you make it, just remember you've got, I'm going to say 2.5, because as you close up, it kind of comes in on itself. More rows to do on top of that. So, all right, time to decrease. Move this here. So what we need to do first is I need to get my wire cutters. If you make your handle longer, you probably will not need the wire cutters, but with the length that I am going with, I do need wire cutters. Okay, so first row of decreasing, we need 1 single crochet, the next is a single crochet together, so we do our front loops only. So 1 front loop, the next front loop, and then just pull through like a regular crochet. 3 single crochets, 1, 2, 3. The next is a single crochet together again. And then we have 3 single crochets for a total of 9 stitches. And there's 3. Okay. Now, so yes, we are now going to check the length, which I've been doing on and off here. You want the hook end to be about 11 and a quarter, 11 and a half inches. And then the handle is going to be whatever is comfortable for your hand. Let me zoom out just a little. I have my tape measure. So that's about 11. Let's see. Yeah, it keeps trying to slide out. There we go. That should be good. Okay, so we have done our first decreasing row. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to trim the end here because I don't need that much. If you're making it longer, like I said, you might not need to. And then I'm going to fold this in like so that it's not going to try and come out of the end. Okay, do a little more stuffing because there's a gap in there. This metallic yarn likes to slide a little bit, so I have to keep pushing my wire back in to kind of get it the right length. All right, just a tiny bit more, I think. Okay, so then now we have our second decreasing row, which is going to get us to 6 single crochets. So our first is a single crochet decrease, so 2 together. And then we have 1 single crochet. And then 2 together. And now I need to do that one more time. So 1 single crochet. And 2 together. Right, and then our last row is going to be decreasing all the way to 3 and single crocheting 2 together all the way around. So 3 times. 1, 2, 3. All right, so then I'm going to cut that and then I'm going to weave this in and it's going to seal that off. Okay. Alrighty, that looks pretty good. So let me just weave this in down here. Okie dokie. Okay, next up is our handguard, which is going to be that big balloon-like looking structure here. So I'm still going to leave this a little straight so that it's not getting weird on us while we're trying to work this piece. And what we need to do for that is, let me get my stuffing out of the way. I don't need that anymore. And we're going to be using the black, continuing. We're going to do a standing single crochet. So I'm doing a slip knot. And then I'm going to attach it to the back loop right here. I'm sorry, the front loop right here that we did because we did the back loop. Okay. And now, as you notice, I'm facing with the handle end away from me because we want the top of the right side of our stitches to be what shows. Okay. So then we're going to do this all the way around. We're doing 11. Actually, that's not where I want to add that. Sorry. Need to go down one. That's where we did our color change. Yes, we need to go down here one. Okay. There we go. 1. 2. Now I'm purposely doing this away from the color change so that it gives that gap and it gives it a different look. If you want it directly on the color change, you can go ahead and use that front loop there. This is your project. You can make it however you see fit. And why did I choose black yarn? Goodness gracious. Y'all go ahead and you can scold me in the comments. That's fine. I just thought it would be cool. I actually went looking for a leather look yarn, and I did find some on Amazon, and I did order it for this, but the problem is it's a size 6. It's a super bulky, and I tried to make it work on here, and it won't. It's too big. Now, if I rewrote this whole thing to make it fit, then there we go. But I didn't want to do that. Maybe later. All right, let's see where I'm at, because I was talking and not actually counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 2 more. $10. Okay, so now what I'm going to do for 11 is I'm going to actually, am I? No, I'm not. Actually, yes, I'm going to grab this first one and 11, the 11 loop down here. And that's going to kind of mitigate some of that angling that's happening. That happens when you work in the round like that. There we go. And now we are slip stitching into our first stitch, which is the standing single crochet, because I want to connect it. That's only one. There we go. Make sure that tail is underneath. And now I am chaining 1. This is the only time I'm doing a chain 1, okay? And then we're going to do increasing all the way around to 22. So we're not going in the same stitch that we did the chain 1 in. We're going into the next one. 1. I know this seems a little bit cumbersome. I'm sorry. 2, 3, 4. It's the first row that's really funky. After that, it gets easier. 5, 6, 7, 21, and 22. All right, so I know I said we are not going to do any more chaining or slip stitching, which is true until the end. So we're just going to work straight over into our first single crochet stitch, which is right here. And we are going to do 1 round of 22. So this is going to be an increasing round and then a stabilizing round of the same, and then an increasing round, and so forth and so on. Okay, so I actually think I'm going to put the stitch marker back on because this black thread is getting, yarn is getting a little bit cumbersome here to kind of see. Okay. Actually, before I continue, I'm going to weave this guy in real quick. And this yarn is nice and thick and sturdy, so it's not really slippery. I don't think it's going to fly down anywhere. Okay, so here we go. 22. Yes, right here. Around. 1, 2. 21 and 22. Okay, moving this guy over. Hope you guys can see this okay. I know it's really difficult and tricky because it's black yarn. I honestly didn't think it would be that difficult to see on camera. I am super sorry. Actually, you know what? I made this all in a white yarn just to kind of get the pattern going. Let me go get that so we can follow along there and you can see it better. Okay, while I was upstairs, so here we are. Let me kind of zoom out, not in, out. So here is my prototype. And what we're doing right now is we are building these rounds, and then it's going to come and straighten out down here like so. Okay, but not related. Pardon the noise. While I was upstairs, Amazon delivered new stitch markers that I just ordered. You get to see them first. I'm super psyched. I can't wait. I'm going to use these right now. So these are great because they just slide into your stitch and you don't have to worry about clasping and unclasping. And look at this lovely little tin. Oh, it's so genius. I love it. Okay. All right. Yep. Those just got here. I'm psyched. Okay. Sorry, this guy. You're coming off. You're going on. Look at that. Whoop. Look at that. I'm in love. Okay. There it is. I'll link those in case you guys want some. Let me make a note on my paper. New stitch markers. I'll also link the cat ones too, if you want to grab those. They're fun. I do like them. Okay, so we just did 22. Now we're going to increase. Let me zoom back in. Okay, I don't know why I can't go the right direction here. So we are increasing. We just did, I think, probably focus. This round here. So now we're going to increase to this round. We're going to be increasing up to 55 stitches. So we have to increase 1, 2, 3 more times with our regular row in between. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to keep this here and kind of flat so that we both can see. All right. So increasing. Focus myself. All right. So 2 single crochets. So 1 in the same. 2 and then a single next. So 3 and then repeat. Whoops. 3. I'll get there. 4 and 5. 6. So I know this is cumbersome to watch. Look, when I made this prototype, I was not sitting at a desk. Okay. I was not sitting at a desk. So yes, it's kind of awkward looking for me and awkward looking for you to watch. But how many of you crochet at a desk? Raise your hand. I don't usually. I just do that when I do my videos. So when I'm making stuff, and I'm pretty sure when you're making stuff, you're probably sitting in a chair, comfy, on a couch, maybe in bed, that kind of thing. So this is less cumbersome when you're not working over a table. I know it looks absolutely insane right now. So that was 6. Okay, 7 and 8. Okay, and 9 singly. 10 and 11. 12. 13. 14. 15. 16 and 17. 18. 19 and 20. 21. 22. 23. 24. 25. 26. 27. 28. 29. 30. 31. 32 and 33. Okay, so you're going to do another round of 33, and then we'll be back to increase. Okay, so I just finished the single round of 33 single crochets. So the next, let me move this guy. We are going to increase to 44. Which means we are going to do 2 single crochets in the same, and then 2 singly, 1 in each. So 3 and 4, 5, and repeat all the way around. 6, Sticks. Okay, and then we're ending with an increase for 43 and 44. Okay, and then next we are just kind of get it closer so you can see what's happening. The next we're going to do a full row of 44 single crochets. Okay, and here's 44. Okay. So as you can see, it's starting to grow a little bit, get bigger. So, I mean, if you were wanting to make like, looking at this, if you were making like a, oh goodness, I just lost what it's called. A fencing sword. This would be nice. I mean, make this a little bit smaller, I think, and definitely longer. And you're definitely going to want maybe like a stick of some kind, like a piece of wood in there to give it more strength and stability. But I don't know. I got fencing sword with that. Anyways, so okay, next we are increasing again for the last time up to 55 stitches. We'll move them over here. Okay, so we are starting out with increasing in our first stitch, so 2 single crochets together, and then we're doing 3 individually. So here's 3, 4, 5, and then we repeat that all the way around. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, okay, and 53, 54, and 55. All right, that is it. That is the end of our increases. Yay! So now we are just going to continue 55 stitches around until it reaches down here. So my pattern for my size has 11 rows. Okay. Now, if you are making your handle longer, then you're going to have more than 11 rows before we do the finishing off 2 rows, just so you know. So keep that in mind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do these 11 rows, and then I will be right back with you so we can finish off the end. Oh my goodness. These are my new favorite stitch markers. I cannot tell you enough. Where have they been? Why have I not bought them before? My favorite. Okay, so we are at the end of our last row here of 55 stitches. Now we're going to kind of do a transition row, because what's going to happen is the way that this is lined up, because we're working in the round, when I get through, it's going to have like a stack. So I'm trying to make the transition spot not fall down and look like an angle. So what I'm doing is I'm slip stitching into the next stitch, and then I'm chaining 1, and then I'm doing a single crochet starting here and going around one more time, 55 stitches. And then we have one more row after this, and we will be finished. Okay, last bit. Here we go. We move this over. See how easy that is? I mean, it's genius, of course, until I say that. There we go. Absolutely. Why did nobody tell me about this before? Anywho, okay. So now we are going to be slip stitching all the way around. So here in the first single crochet, we are going to slip stitch. And that's going to kind of straighten the base of this out, because it kind of likes to curl a little bit. It's going to straighten it out, and it's going to give it a nice edging. Okay. So last one, and then I'm going to cut this off and then tie it. Not quite tie it off, but I'm going to do like an invisible tie over here. So how I do that is take this. This is this. Oh goodness. Let's see if I can get closer. Invisible join. I don't know why I couldn't say join. Okay, so you see this loop here is overlapping this loop. So this one is going to sit on top of that. So we're going to skip this loop because we're going to make one that's going to sit on top of that. And then we're going to go into this loop here. Pull this over, come in back over here in this loop. And now this one goes down in between here. And that gives us our invisible join. I hope you can see. There we go. Now I'm just going to tie these off in here, weave it in. This yarn is very thick for a worsted weight, so it is quite sturdy, and I am not worried about it slipping and sliding and coming undone. Okay. Okay, so here is our handle. And now we're going to bend the hook. So I'm kind of looking at the tip of the hook. So what I want to do is make it so it's more easily bends up here. So I'm kind of seeing how it's shaped to kind of match that, if that makes any sense. So if it's already showing some kind of propensity to bend, then that way, then that's what I want to go for. Okay, so bending, and then now I'm gonna bend the hook like so. You definitely want some height there, and then a wide hook here, and then it kind of gets into the angle there. There we are. Our pirate hook. I don't know about this part right here. All right, there it is. Here. I'm not sure I can zoom out much more. Maybe that's a little bit better. There, I like that better. Ta-da! Arr. Okay, there it is. And you see, if we have the top there, it kind of gives it that little added, like the metal has something to go into. Oh, some authenticity there. All right, let me clean this stuff up, and I'll see you in a few minutes. All righty, land lovers. Here we are. We have our whole outfit together. We have our hook, we have our hat, we have our scarf. Maybe we can get an earring. I don't know. Anywho, I want to say thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed all of these fun little pirate themed creations. They're perfect for getting ready for Talk Like a Pirate Day, which is September 19th. Or if you celebrate Halloween, then it's perfect to get you a nice little costume idea to get you ready for that, if you want to do the pirate thing. Now, all of these are fully customizable. Your scarf, you can make any color you want. You can put some fringe on there. Your hat, you can make it any color you want as well. If you want a red hat, a purple hat, a green hat, doesn't matter. Whatever kind of hat you want. you're in charge of your pirate theme. And then, of course, what pirate would not be without their pirate hook. So anyways, I want to say thanks for hanging out with me today. Please make sure you are subscribed so that you get all of the latest video updates and notifications. And then so the notification bell is dinged. And please hit that like button. Show me some love. I really greatly appreciate that. And look forward to seeing you tomorrow when we complete our pirate theme of the week.